Well, good evening, listeners. Thank you for listening to Lament of Hope podcast. Thank you for taking the time to listen to people's stories. It's been invaluable to me. It's been a huge encouragement to me, as well as the people who have come on the show and shared about their lives and their stories and their careers. And I've been very blessed by just the amount of people that have been willing to do this. And I'm actually talking today with Leah Zeger. She's right here on the screen, and then for those listening, she is a violinist. She's a singer. She's a songwriter. Um, she's a mom. She's actually in Australia right now, touring with the Hans Zimmer live concerts. And for those who have been following the podcast, I've interviewed a couple different musicians from the Hans Zimmer live production already. But I saw Leah in concert at both the Baltimore concert, which was her last one in the US. Um, it was a reschedule. It was the only one they rescheduled due to Hans Zimmer being sick for the first one. And she played the violin as well as sang for the Interstellar, one of the Interstellar pieces, and her voice was just so beautiful, and she was very talented with the music. And I said, I really want to interview her. And so I looked her up on social media, saw her website, saw that she was um, accessible, and then here she is taking the time. It is the next day for her in the morning in Australia, but she's here, and I'm very appreciative. And she also has a duo with her husband too, called Leah and I. And I will make sure that underneath the podcast, you guys see the socials for both her personal account as well as for her and her husband. But Leah, thank you so much for coming on and doing this so early in the morning.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
So, I did want to mention before we started, she did mention to me, you said that Jeff Goldblum is coming out with a recent album as of this
Yeah, yeah,
podcast, um, and you actually play the violin with Ariana Grande and Jeff Goldblum is on the piano.
that's right. Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah. So
mean,
Ariana's singing, and it's an old jazz standard called "I Don't Know Why," and it's really she did a great job, and it's just an honor to be on that song. I used to perform pretty regularly with um, with Jeff. He had like a study at in Los Angeles where I live. Just playing every Wednesday, and I got to go sing and play with him and guest as a featured artist. So
well,
that
I
was
saw
fun.
because even on your website it says you've played with a lot of pretty well-known, prominent artists that you've been on tour with.
It makes me feel pretty old when I think about all the people I've had the pleasure to play with. Yeah, yeah, it's been an amazing time in LA. I've been here 15 years, and yeah, it's just like from the minute I got there, um, it was just pretty full on. Go, go, go.
I wanted to ask, because you've been doing the Hans Zimmer since 2017, which is a pretty long time,
Yeah.
is has the Hans Zimmer concert for you been your favorite? Because it seems to be a very long-term tour that you've been with, or is that just how it's worked
Yes.
out with
It's
um
definitely a favorite of mine. Yeah, I mean, I had to really, um, I've had to work out how to do it. The first year was the only year I toured with him without children. And then 2018, I had my first kid, and Ezra is now 6 years old. And yeah, so it's just been kind of like I did a tour, baby, tour. But that's it's just a testament, I think, to how much the this project means to me. I mean, the Hans Zimmer live, the show, and it's just such a really, I mean, it's an amazing show. It's extremely inspiring. Everybody, it's like a 20-piece band of Hans's closest, friends, and he's found us from all over the world, and it's just a really amazing group of talented, like-minded people. And yeah, we all just really take we take great delight in performing his compositions. And yeah, it's really my other family now. It's my tour family.
How do you have all that energy for so long, though? That's one thing I wondered. Because, like, I'm sitting in the
Oh, for three
audience and,
hours, yeah.
yeah, you feel really inspired for sure. But I'm thinking you guys must be, I mean, because you're always moving around, going to a different instrument or singing a
Yeah.
song. Um,
Uh-huh.
and it just keeps going. And it's like, and the energy never ends. Like the kind
I
of,
know.
you're always on the same high level, even if the song is soft or whatever it is, though, you haven't lost like the passion or the energy at all. Like, how do
The
you do that?
intensity, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's a marathon for sure. It's a marathon, emotionally and physically. And I feel like I get in shape every time. I don't get a chance to work out when I'm home lately, so this is my workout time. I just get in shape doing these shows, these 3-hour shows, and head banging and doing back bends and just giving it everything because we've got that music, in our we have in ears that we wear, and like, oh wait, where are my professional in ears? But yeah, we all have like the music coming into our ears um, with a click track, and it's really cool how it all just stays together, um, and we're all connected, like, and we get really into it because it's pumped up, and when I hear loud music, I get into it. I was a raver back in the day. I used to go to raves, and I would just be so it was transcending. The louder and the better the music, it's just I could just get lost, and I love dancing. So that's really a huge part of the enjoyment of this show for me. I love I love dancing while I'm playing and while I'm not playing. I just love dancing. So it's really part of it.
Do you like playing the violin or do you like singing more? Or is it about the same?
Oh, it's equal. Honestly, yeah. I mean, I'm kind of a jazz musician. A lot of the time, I wear a lot of hats actually. I play a lot of classical music. I play a lot of rock, a lot of jazz, a lot of country. But uh, whatever the gig is, I really prefer to be doing both because I get bored if I'm just playing all the time or just singing all the time.
Hmm.
Yeah, I really love both. So I'm
But
glad that, yeah,
I was gonna say that the Interstellar one, the range, you have to go so high. Is that
yeah, it's really high. And I've had to, I mean, I got my degree in opera, so I'm used to singing up high as a soprano, but I've never really gone as high as I do in this show in that one moment. Like I think I was hitting a D, and honestly, like my range has gone. You can tell I have a fairly low speaking voice, right? It's on the low side. So it's even though I had a super high range singing opera in college. And then I started singing jazz a lot more. And just, I guess it's age is a factor. Like the older you get, sometimes if you're not, especially if you're not using that range, you kind of lose it. You don't use it, you lose it.
yeah.
And also, I think just like sleep deprivation from the last 6 years of child rearing and like, yeah, sleep deprivation and also yelling at my kids constantly, not in a bad way, just to get them to do things or get their attention. You're just constantly yelling. So I think that plays a large part in my voice dropping kind of. So anyway, I've had to, every time I get back on tour, I have to find a place and I can't do it really in the hotels. It's kind of a pain. I have to find a spot where I'm not going to annoy people. So I've started to get, like, tomorrow is the first show of the tour. It's in we're in where are we? In Australia. What city are we in?
Is it
Brisbane.
Brisbane? Yeah,
Yeah,
Brisbane.
uh-huh. But so I'm gonna get to the arena 2 hours early with a few of the others that like to get there and warm up. And that's just going to be my routine for this tour. I'm just going to get there and warm up my voice. I do the la 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 la. all the way up the scale. And yeah, so I just, that's how I get back in shape every time I start from scratch.
How um do you do the touring because you love it or because you like, is that a way that you contribute to the household financially, or for you is it just the love for it, or is it both? Because like you
That
said,
is
now
a
you have three
very,
children and your
yeah,
husband also is a musician. So I wondered, is
yes.
this a combined effort for you two guys, or is this something where you're like, I just love it, I couldn't live without this, so I have to do it?
I mean, this is such a relevant question because every single tour I say this is the last one, and it never is. The only tour I missed in these last 8 years was one in Europe. I think it was 2023 because my third kid, Eli, was only 1 month old, and I just couldn't. We tried to figure out a way that my husband and I could take Eli and follow the buses. There are three buses that we travel in, tour buses, and like follow in a car. But I think it was some kind of a liability for the production company, and it didn't fly, didn't go. We're always trying to brainstorm with Hans's team and just figure out is there any way that we can bring because I'm the only one out of these 20 people that have kids
Oh my
that has
goodness,
kids.
wow.
It's crazy. I mean, there's one person that Andy Pask, he has two grown children. Um, but yeah, wait, does he have maybe one? I don't know. One or two, maybe one. And yeah, I'm the only woman, and there are like 10 women in the show, and we're all in our, well, I won't say how old, but I keep waiting and waiting and hoping that somebody else will have kids so that I won't be the only one with this dilemma. Um, but no, and I also don't know that many mothers who tour. But and to answer your question, I mean, it is really because I keep coming back because I love it. Um, I yeah, it's like um, it's on another level of performing from what all the other things I do. We reach more people every single night than I could possibly with any other project I do. Um, and it's just like such a high level of musicianship.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the energy, it's like, and the family, it's just very easy because we all get along. It's all professional, very professional atmosphere. They take great care of us. The loyalty is really impressive. Um, but yeah, and Hans he has 4 kids. So he gets it and he really wishes there was a way to that I could bring them. And he's always like, come on, bring the kids and a nanny. And I'm like, oh yeah, it would be so cool. But and maybe in a few years, you never know. But like that's that one tour I missed. And and I didn't really like I wasn't sad. I didn't have FOMO, which is good. I was so like when I'm home, I'm just so involved with the kids and it's just a beautiful thing um that it's like I'm equally present wherever I am.
Hmm.
So I love that the touring allows me time to catch up on me, like, and my career and
Hmm.
paying bills and signing the kids up for extra. I do everything for the kids. Like I found out they had dental insurance like when I was on a tour. I'm like, oh my gosh, look at this, because I'm just so in it right now with a 2, 4, and 6 year old. So yeah, the tours really allow me to like step back and become creative again for a moment, like even if it's just a month or something.
Well, how does that, do you, because it's so surprising to me, because I'm thinking, here's this woman who's had an amazing, I mean, I was looking at things you've done, and I mean, maybe for other musicians, there's more levels, I don't know. But for me, someone who, I've wanted to be a mom. I have my motherhood fears. I want to be a mom, but I also have always said, I don't want, my dream has never been homemaking only. I've always
Yeah.
wanted to tell stories. I've always wanted to be able to have an outlet to do that. And one of the things I was so worried about when I, especially in college, and I still worry about, is if I have kids, is that going to change? Because so many of my friends, very ambitious and very ready to go, and then I saw like half of them that was gone. Everything was
Yeah.
the kids, and
Yeah. It takes
there,
over.
yeah, there was no more. And there was even, in some ways, which I found hard, there was even like, it was just hard to even see them. There was just, that was it. And then for other
Yeah.
people, I've seen them balance so well the two, but at the same time, there's other areas of their life that might be falling apart, but they're at least doing the
Exactly.
career and they're doing the kids. So I wanted to
Yeah.
ask you, like, how are you? I can't even imagine six and under. I'm like, oh my gosh. How are you? Do you
Yeah.
have mom guilt about this? Do
Oh,
you,
totally. Yeah.
but you're
Like,
like,
okay,
how
for
do you know you're doing the
instance,
right thing?
there is no right. That's the thing. There's no right or wrong. It's just a sacrifice that makes sense to me and my family. And Ira has always been like, go do the Hans tour. Everything else is kind of like not as important in his eyes. And I kind of like, I agree. Our duo was very important to us. I have a few other projects that are dear to me, like Vitamin String Quartet, and I play with a gypsy jazz guitarist that we don't really play much anymore, but I'd like to play with him some more. Gonzalo Vergara, who's in Buenos Aires, and then this other guy, Corey Pesaturo, who I'm still concertizing with. He's an amazing accordion player. But yeah, I mean, I have to really be very sure that this is an extremely important concert and I'm going out of town and I just kind of make the decision. I ask my husband first, um, and I'm giving him veto power, because he has to pick up the slack when I'm gone. He is watching the kids. Um, and May is when his schedule starts to get busy. So he's starting right now. I was just talking to my kids who are with my parents. My parents are doing most of the work. Right now, my mom mostly. So they're all three are with my mom right now while Ira's at a gig, and um, it's tricky. And he's an amazing man to allow me to do what I do still. But that's why he fell for me. I gave him my record, and he's like, he likes me being, as he calls it, a dragon slayer. Go be a dragon slayer for a little bit and come home, see the kids. Like, so, and there, I mean, the sacrifice is real though. I cannot, um, my social life is in my gigging. My career is like every time I go to work, um, I feel weird calling it work because everything I do, every gig that I do is so much fun. Like I can find positive in all of them, even the weddings that I play, like private events. Like it's always playing amazing music with amazing people. Um, but every time I go out, that is my social. I have plenty of social interaction with friends. So there's no reason to, I can't, and I can't justify like having going out with a friend. Like that's never going to happen because I have plenty of time at work socializing. That I have that luck that that it's like my career is partly social interaction in a large part. So anyway, there's that, and then so I don't really find sacrifice too much in that. I do have mom friends that are not musicians, and we do find times to do play dates, with the kids. So I have that too. And then I'm actually going, a good example of a sacrifice that I made on this very tour is there's a week where we have nothing in Japan, and everyone else in the band is staying and vacationing and bringing their significant others to Japan, and they're backpacking, they're going all around Japan and tour and just for sightseeing, and I am going on a plane all the way back to LA. Flying I don't know how many hours, and then I think I'll get 3 hour three nights with my kids, and then I meet everybody else in Abu Dhabi. So I've never been to Japan. it was very exciting to go, but I have to make the sacrifice. And it's more important to me to see one little development in my 2 year old, one little, but so much happens in a 2 year old in a week. You know what I mean?
Wow.
They change
Yeah.
so fast. So I just want to be there if I can. I can't imagine being by myself with no work for 7 days. Like I can't do it at this stage in their lives.
Yeah. I was gonna ask, did you want to, like, have you always wanted to have kids, or was this something that came as more of a surprise to you? Or, because I'm thinking typically when I'm talking to women whose careers are going very well, they're either saying, I don't think I'll have kids, or if they do have kids, they come with them everywhere, right? It's much more
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
and they're older a lot of the times, like you mentioned before. So they can
yeah,
travel, they can homeschool them, whatever they need to do so that they're always coming with them everywhere. So they're not separated, but also at the same time, the career doesn't end. It can keep going, they can tour, whatever it is. So for you,
exactly.
um,
It's it
what
does put a
was,
wrench in things.
yeah, what was, I'm just so curious about, like, did you always want to have kids and then having very young
I
kids
didn't.
during this time? Really?
I
Okay.
didn't really ever. I mean, I had it in the back of my mind just because of society and because of like the unspoken um, desires of your parents. Kind of like my mom kind of moved to LA to when she retired from the symphony. She's a violinist, and she's that's why I was born in Houston because she got into the Houston Symphony and then had me and my brother over there with my dad. But anyway, she moved to LA after she retired and was just kind of like waiting with open arms, like, okay, I'm ready. Like, didn't say anything about kids, but it was obvious that she was waiting. And I was in a 3 year relationship at that point with Ira. Um, and yeah, we just decided, I think it was just, I, I'd always thought too, just because my mom she had two. So I think it's just like this weird thing that's transferred societal and parental kind of like you monkey see, monkey do, like what your parents, do you have that?
Oh yeah.
Like just kind of an unspoken thing, like, oh, that's what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
But so it's partly that, and then also I had a really close relationship with my parents, so I think I innately just wanted to experience that connection and with children. Even though I'd never been around kids, I didn't necessarily, I didn't have any extended family, any kids around. I just trusted that I would like my own kids, and I also I'm telling you all the factors because I think it's very relevant to you and maybe some listeners that are considering because it's a huge decision, and I really like to talk to women to help them with this decision because it's life changing, obviously, especially for us. Um, if your career is going really well, uh, but yeah, I think it was also just meeting Ira and seeing that he was such a great father figure. Like he would make a great dad. And I saw him with his dog and the way he treated his dog with equal parts nurturing to disciplinarian and nurturer. Like I thought I knew immediately that he was going to make a great dad and be very responsible. And he is. So that was yeah. You kind of know sometimes, and sometimes you don't, and you just
But
have to jump.
you had free. You didn't have two.
Yeah, I had one extra because Ira he's the youngest of five, a big Filipino family, and he has these gatherings, and I would always go to Christmas with his family and stuff, and just see the camaraderie and how neat that dynamic is, just with a larger group of people. And I wanted to experience that. So, I mean, five is obviously way more than I would ever want. Um, but I thought, well, maybe three. I could do three, I guess. And then I was so scared when I first got pregnant. I was like, what have I done? But then, sure enough, it's just really cool. It's cool having to see the three of them together.
Do your kids ever say though, like, "Mommy, why you have to leave?"
Oh yeah, they're starting to. Yeah.
And you're like, "Please don't say that."
Yeah. It's kind of becoming evident to me that they need you more the older they get. And a few people have told me that.
Hmm.
But it's kind of true because they're not well, maybe they need you and they just don't know how to say it, when they're younger. But it tugs at your heartstrings when you actually hear them saying, where's mommy? So yeah, I'm ready to be there more, I think. This maybe they can I'm hoping if Hans or somebody in the group is hearing me, like my wish would be to either take them with me or figure something out. The homeschooling idea, my husband and I have talked about it, and they make it way easier for to do that these days. So it's always on the table. Um, if the situation is right. But right now, the school is really great that they're going to. We're in a good area with a good school district, school system, and yeah, I think maybe just doing half of the tour would be ideal for me. Like bring me in for half of the run, or for whenever they need somebody to step in. Yeah, we'll
Do
see.
you, do you find it easier to sacrifice now than you did before you had kids?
Easier to sacrifice. Well, yeah, I never would have thought twice about. I always putting my career first was always. I mean, it kind of made it hard for me to follow my heart. And now it's like through kids, I'm learning how to follow my heart. And sometimes it's not possible to follow your heart. Like I would want to do tour just back to back and just always be performing. But yeah, I'll figure it out.
What would be, what would you love like 10 years from now, like your career? Is there something you would really like to do or accomplish that you haven't yet, or a specific individual you'd like to play with, or do you
Oh
feel like you
man.
really have reached your peak
Oh wow.
with
I
what you're
mean,
doing?
I'm always afraid of that. Of oh, I've reached my peak, but it always life just and circumstance proves me wrong every time. So it's always very a pleasant surprise. But I've got more incredible offers coming to me these days than I ever did in my 20s. You know, it's almost not fair. But I've got just so many offers on the table to play with incredible musicians these days, and I wish I could do it all. Um, but yeah, a lot of them are just impossible with kids, unfortunately. And you do have to choose. Like Hans Zimmer is touring a bunch these days, and I think the next one is going to be, I think it's like September, October, November. It's 2.5 months or something in Europe. I think the dates are posted, but it's pretty full on. So I think for everyone in the band, it's definitely like their first priority and takes precedent over everything else. But for me, in 10 years, I would be touring, I would be playing shows for captive audiences with my own groups, I think, more, and doing the Leah Zeger show,
Yeah.
and the Leah and Ira show. So that's and then the Leah and Corey and the Leah and Gonzalo, and these projects that are dear to my heart. I would like to in 10 years be performing for, I visualize like a few hundred people, performing art centers, stuff like that around the country, jazz festivals. So yeah,
You know, that was
nice to hear.
something when I saw your duo with you and your husband. I found it so interesting that it was called Leah and I, because typically, and I'm not trying to, for anyone listening, I'm not trying to make some statement here. I'm just saying that a lot of times the male name will go first. And I
Yeah,
was like, is this in it? Like, I was like looking at this and I'm like, it's called Leah and I. I mean, first of all, it rolls off the tongue beautifully, right? But also,
yeah.
I was like, it's so interesting that that's what the duo is called when it's her and her husband, because I would think it would be named either your last names or it would be like that was the first time I had seen a duo where the wife's name was named first and the husband's name is just I. Like so he's not even, you know what I mean? I wanted to ask
Well,
him, what was the origin of that?
so as Ira likes to say, he thinks of our duo as him being like he's lifting me up with the guitar chords, like
Oh.
the foundation of his being the only rhythm section. He is the entire rhythm section. When it's just the two of us. Sometimes we add on instruments and we have like a quartet or a quintet. Um, but yeah, so if he's the only instrument. It's kind of like the dancer, the male dancer. He's holding me up, and I'm just allowed to. He's just spinning me around. Basically, he's like allowing me to do all of my virtuosic, classical repertoire on violin. Because I can, I'm that's like the only thing that I'm really good at is playing violin because I've done it since I was little, and I'm kind of I, that's how I described the duo when I wrote the bio. But yeah, that's why it's like he's kind of supporting me. Some of the time he does really shine, and he's an incredible singer in his own right. He does a lot of like Frank Sinatra tunes, but he's also like an aficionado of Brazilian um, bossa nova music. So he sings tons of songs in Portuguese, and he does it beautifully. But yeah, so I think it's a really cool world music duo, and but that's like the origin. I think is he makes that joke like I'm just spinning her around. I'm supporting her while she spins around.
That's still so beautiful to me that, because it does take, I think it takes a humble man in many ways who his insecurities are not, he's not insecure or shaken by the fact that his wife or is succeeding in something and he's helping in that. You know what I mean? Because sometimes for a
Yeah.
man,
Oh, it's a
that
struggle. He has
causes
his moments.
insecurity for them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because, I
Yeah.
mean, obviously you're more, at least I think, unless I don't, maybe he is, but I feel like you're more well known.
For sure. I mean, just because of the Hans show, I feel like I've got a lot of fans through Hans Zimmer now that know who I am. It's pretty cool.
I was gonna ask you, because wasn't there a time when you couldn't play the violin? You had carpal tunnel
Yeah.
or something?
Yeah.
What did
Yeah.
that
So that's
feel
why I switched to
like?
voice. That was devastating. I had like a total what do you call it? Identity crisis.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, it was very confusing, and my mom had spent so much time and energy training me to be a great violinist, and I was competing and playing really intense concertos, and really far along in my career at 15 years old. So it was devastating. Then again, it allowed me to discover other genres of music, which weren't as physically demanding because classical music, you're like an athlete of the small muscles. That's what I like to
yeah.
tell everybody. That's the analogy. I mean, it's not even an analogy. We are athletes, but we use our small muscles and they get pretty injured if, you know, we get injured just like actual athletes. It usually happens later on, like in college when people are really practicing a lot. But for me, because I started young, and I got really intense early, then that can happen. But it
What
kind of led me on this path, like to sing instead for a while.
is there anything you do now to kind of help your hands in any way, like to give them rest? Because if you're going on such intense touring, I'm thinking,
Yeah.
is there anything you do to help the process of healing the muscles faster?
I just stretch. I stretch. I try and
Okay.
try and take care of my body. I drink water. I just do the things that, just in general, taking care of myself. And like if I feel pain, then I stop. And I don't have too much virtuosic violin stuff in this show. That's Rusanda Panfili. But I used to play the first violin parts, and I did struggle with tendonitis in 2017. But I got through the tour. It was hard.
Is that hard for you now? Like, do you wish you could do that?
I I get to actually Rusanda is with Andrea Bocelli right now, so I am Molly and I are both playing some of the first violin parts on this tour. So I'm getting a
Yes,
dose of that
years.
virtuosic playing. Yeah,
So you're not it you are called upon at times. You still do
at
it.
times, yeah, yeah. It just depends on, and that's why I'm like, well, you know, other people have some other projects that they're splitting their time with. Um, so maybe down the road I can figure out, my issue is kids and needing to be home, but maybe I can. I don't know if I should even say this on the podcast because whatever
Well, I was
the
gonna ask
liability.
you, is there anything just I would think music industry in general, not particularly Hans Zimmer, just music industry in general, because it's competitive, it's hard from what I've heard.
Yeah,
And if you stop doing stuff, you just become no one knows who you are after a while. Like
yeah,
if you stop putting stuff out there, then I have been amazed. Just I'm in my, 25 years, somebody that I really liked when I was 15 and was really big is now like nobody. Like it's incredible how like just if you stop for a while or take a break, you may not come back, you know?
yeah. Even if you
And
don't take a break, I mean, that's just the nature of the biz, the industry. I mean,
is there
there's very
some,
little staying power, and it's only the handful of artists that it's have the luck. I mean, it takes a lot of luck, right place, right time, right
yeah.
team, right trends. Um, it's not always talent at all, and it's not that for lack of trying. It's just sometimes, that's the way the cookie crumbles. I know artists that are should be extremely famous that their albums got shelved by Sony just because there was somebody that filled the criteria like of John Mayer-esque guitarist that sings. I mean, they just they have a criteria to fill. But the industry is cruel. It's very cruel and it's very happenstance and just there's no rhyme or reason. But yeah, I can promise you that it's not that people just go away or stop doing stuff for a while. It's just that the biz kind of just um, doesn't have a use for some people after a year for a song. It's really weird. It's
Well, I was gonna say,
heartbreaking for some people.
is there something you wish was different or you think would help so that if you had kids, for instance, it wasn't, and I maybe this term is too harsh, so correct me if you think it is, but punishing in a way that it's like, okay, now like everything is just 10 times harder. I mean,
Yeah,
obviously, yeah, you have kids, so everything is, yeah, there's a harder element, but also, I mean,
yeah.
the world, I
You have
think,
to
in a lot
choose.
of ways doesn't help you out with these kind of
No,
things. And so I
no, it
wondered
doesn't.
if you could change anything or do something, if you could, what would you like to help moms that were in the industry who wanted to be a good mom and at the same time still get to do what they love?
I mean, how much of an idealist can I be when it's like it's just kind of this industry, the entertainment industry is not where it needs to be. It doesn't prioritize families at all yet. Um, I've talked a lot of friends send their friends over to me to talk to them about how do I approach the situation. I'm going to have a kid and I want to go on this tour. Like, how do I talk to the manager? What do I say? And I just kind of tell them what my experience was and what to say and what not to say, what information to that you can withhold. Um, like if you're expecting or if you have a kid, yeah, there're just certain things that you don't always have to say. Certain things that just aren't going to work, but you don't know until you try. So like if
Yeah.
you just yeah, you just sometimes you just have to lay it out on the table and be like, hey, I really want to be performing with this artist and a part of this group, about a part of this band and this family, and I don't know how to, it's just it's tricky, and oftentimes it doesn't really work out unless you have, I'll tell you, unless you have a really good team. And the only reason I'm able to be a mom and an artist is because I have a mom that lives down the street. My mother is in her late 70s and she is still in extremely good shape and just happens to love taking care of my children, sometimes all three at once, which is very rare. And I hate to say it, that's just not, doesn't happen very,
Yeah.
you don't see that very much. Um, and then I also have my cousin. I'll be honest, I have a lot of help. Like my cousin lives upstairs. We haven't made her full time yet, but she's nannying for other friends and people around town. But she, as soon as we need her, I think I can make her full time and employ her and be our like live-in nanny for all three. So that helps. Like, because yeah, I mean, I want to be there as much as I can, but it's good to have. You have to have if you want to leave, especially if you want to leave town, you gotta or be gone a lot as a mom or a dad. You have to have the right support system.
Well, I was gonna say I think it's so cool though that your mom knows that passion of loving the violin. And I feel like that helps
Oh yeah.
because I think some moms who didn't share your same passion, if they were your mom, it would be hard for them to understand why you're doing this. I think there'd be a
Yeah.
lot more tension. But the fact that she knows what you feel and has done it, there must be
Yeah,
such a
she was a touring
closeness there.
violinist too. So
Yeah.
she it's like she's paying it forward. So she had an amazing career in the Houston Symphony, and they used to tour. They'd take the whole orchestra, like 100 people, to Japan or to Russia, to Germany. So she got to travel and she got to play with this amazing group of musicians, every other night, and sometimes every night. And the schedule was all mapped out. That's the difference between her, a symphony musician, and a freelance musician. It's like from we exist gig to gig, whereas my mom had her entire like 2 years, the next 2 years mapped out, every concert, every rehearsal. So
Wow.
it's totally different, but she still was gone and she wants to give me, aside from just really loving the kids, she just wants to make it possible for me to enjoy a career like she did.
Hmm. And you said you were really close to her, so even with the travel, you and your mom, you don't, the travel didn't impact your relationship with her.
She, oh, when she was traveling
Yeah.
or when, yeah, when she was traveling, it was only like 3 weeks at a time. It wasn't as long as I go. I've been gone 2.5 months one time. And this is, sometimes a month and a half, but it's a long time.
Yeah. I think it's, I think being a woman is hard.
It is, yeah. I can't believe you're only 25.
Why do I seem old?
No, no, you seem mature. Yeah.
I think I have an old soul. But I want to be respectful of your time, so I just want to ask you one more question. Is there a song, because you've played many, is there a song that either you've written or a song that you've heard and played that you think really personifies you? Like when you would play it, it would just connect to your soul. It connects to your
Oh,
soul so quickly. Is there a
well,
song?
I think I would have to say the last song on my latest record, which is called These Thoughts. So if you just go to Spotify or any listening platform, you just look up These Thoughts by Leah Zeger and it'll come up. But it's just about how it's like a song about growing up and being less self-indulgent, less self-centered, and learning to listen to others. And yeah, like basically it's shut up and you might learn something. But
That's the
it's got a
alternative
yeah.
title.
Yeah. But it's a really I love the musicians that played on it and I love the tune. I think other people would too.
I have to look that up. I didn't even know that. Yeah, I gotta listen
Yeah,
to
it's
that.
the name of the record, the album is Plans Change. And then the first track, I think the first track and the last track on Plans Change is the first song. It's like so both of those two songs are are really cool.
Well, Leah, thank you so much. I mean, taking the time when you could be doing something else or napping or anything. I really do appreciate it. And, the music you make is beautiful, and I really do hope that you can continue doing that.
Thank you. Oh, I will in some way or another, some form or another. I will be singing and playing until I'm gone.
Well, thank you so much, and best luck on your tour starting tomorrow.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Danielle. It was great.
You're very welcome. Bye, Leah.
Bye.